didn't wake up to the first siren.
Oh, so
Like I slept through it. I got a message from a cousin of mine in the States who was like, "Bro, are you okay?" I'm like,
why wouldn't I
First of
be?
all, you're texting me on Yontif, so something
That's strange.
must be, yeah.
Right.
It was like, what's going on? He's like, bro, you're like being evaded.
So,
It's like,
so I was like half awake, half asleep. I heard the siren, and it's like Jerusalem. We don't have sirens in Jerusalem. Like it's like the most random thing, and it's usually like you're warned about it in advance. So it was like, okay, there's like the system had a defect or whatever. It's a malfunction. Like someone flipped a button by accident while they spilled their coffee on like the console, and the siren went off. I'm like, I had one siren. It woke me up on time for shul. I could have a cup of coffee. I get my kids ready. Like, there's no.
you're like, you had different plans, okay?
I'm like, great, cool, siren, awesome. Like, it wasn't like. And then the second one went off, and I'm like, all right, two malfunctions in a row. That's a little bit strange. It's a little bit weird, but I still like it, the. I didn't have that light bulb moment yet where I'm like, all right, we're at war. But I did think that before I go to shul, I should take my phone with me. I don't normally carry my phone around on Chag or Shabbat, but I was thinking like, you know what, two sirens.
Better safe than sorry.
Like something's odd, something strange. Knowing what I do in reserve duty, if there's a really big balagan, they're gonna call us up, one of the first people anyways. Or I'm also like, because I'm one of the armed people in the community, we have our own like, now it's official, but then it was just like a group of us in WhatsApp who all are armed, just in case something happens in the community. We can help provide a response before the police show up. So I'm saying like, if something's going on, I'll take my phone, put it in my pocket. I didn't think to look at it or anything. I just put it in my pocket. I went to shul, and then the sirens started in Jerusalem. They were coming one after the other, and all of a sudden Simchat Torah, which is this like long day where you're in shul for hours. There's singing, there's dancing. It was like just also where everyone's in the miklat and like in the bomb shelter in the shul, and there's like an argument with, should we still dance? Should we all go home? What's going on? And I'm like, all right, I don't know. I have my phone. I'm going to the bathroom and checking my phone. I go to the bathroom. I'm looking through the news, and like it's I'm looking through Telegram, I'm looking through the news. I'm like, shit, this is not just a one-off. There's some like the shit is hitting the fan as we speak. And our WhatsApp group for reserve duty is like, even the religious guys are like, are we being called up? What's going on? What's doing? And
Did everyone like know something was up when the religious people are on their phones?
yeah, there's a thing.
You know?
It's like also when I see like our battalion's rabbi is first and foremost a combat soldier with us, and his role of rabbi is secondary. So he's the Rav of the Gdud, the rabbi of the battalion, but he's a very serious guy. Like, he's not on his phone on Shabbat, not even like for fun. Like, he's a very
chashuv
stark
guy.
He's a chashuv, a stark yid,
Yeah.
like great man. When I see a message from him in the group, like, should we head south or should we head to our emergency call-up base? Like, because he's in the south. I'm like, okay, something's up if he's on his phone. And we weren't being called up because I think that the whole system collapsed. Everyone forgets, the system collapsed. There was no army, like, as a system.
But that's the biggest question. It's like, what does it mean, the collapse? How did it collapse? How is there no army?
Oh, we'll get into that. But we realized on our own, I think I left Jerusalem around 11, not even 10:30, 11, something like that.
When you left, did you know how bad it was?
So I left, I packed a bag. I have my regular reserve duty bag at home that I know I just have to add. I have to add in, there's certain items of like underwear, socks I have to add in. Instead of leaving it in there, you pull out of your drawer, whatever it is, you put it in, and my toothbrush. Those are the three things I know I have to add to the bag when I leave, no matter what. Otherwise, it's packed on the shelf. It always been there for years. Everything I've reserved, I pull it out, add three things, and go. If it's summer or winter, I might take out some things or add some things in. Just, I don't need thermal underwear in the summer. I don't really need in the winter either, but it's nice to have if you're sitting on a long, guard duty for hours stationary.
Comfortable.
But I packed my bag, and like I'd left my kids by a friend. I said goodbye to them, and I figured I'll be gone for a week. It was like another operation, whatever it is. I'll go. I'll be home in a week. Came home 4 months later. Like, I didn't realize at first, at that moment when I was leaving my home, I did not realize the scope. I think when I got in the car and I started driving, because our emergency call out base is by Rehovot,
Okay.
and the guy I work for lives in Modi'in, and I have a big car from work, and I wasn't gonna take it with me. I knew it was gonna be gone. It's gonna be parked, in a parking lot. How is he gonna get the keys? The keys will be locked in my bag inside an army base. It's too complicated. I knew he was gonna be on his phone. I called him up and I said, "Listen, come with me. You'll take the car back. When I come home in a week from now, you'll come pick me up. It's fine." But we've been working together for years, good friends. And it was as I'm driving out of Jerusalem heading towards Modin to pick him up, I had the news on and the sirens are going. Like, every 20 minutes. I'm listening to the news and I'm starting to realize that this is not, that maybe I'm going to be gone for more than a week. Reality hadn't hit yet. And then it got to the emergency call up base. And again, because of where I serve, it's not like we got there and our warehouses were empty. We have everything. We do an emergency call up exercise at least once a year where we physically show up, get all of our equipment, then we start a 3-day exercise. It's not like we're not one of these lower tier units that were really caught by surprise. And we get our Jeeps ready, and by 1 o'clock we're ready to go, and then we're going up north, we're going down south, we're going up north, we're going down south. It was a balagan.
What do you mean you're going? You didn't know?
They kept changing our orders whether we're going up to the
Or
northern
was you
border.
just driving in circles?
Well, we never actually left the base. It was prepare. No, you prepare a little bit differently if you're going up north. The topography of the north of Lebanon and the topography of Gaza are very different. So you
Right.
prepare a little bit differently which way you're going, slightly different equipment. So you keep switching back and forth. But as a radio operator, it's switching from Southern Command to Northern Command. So I'm switching all of the radio frequencies on the radio. I'm switching all of the maps that are in our like they're iPad type things. There's like these tablets that have maps. So you're switching the data again and again and again and again and again over the course of a few hours, back and forth, back and forth. But how the army collapsed again. This is one of those things where Hamas executed their plan to perfection. There was, I can't. I'm not going to extrapolate and say that the army, the higher command of the army was working for the enemy. That would be almost conspiracy theory like, and I'm not, even if that's true, I don't think I even want to know that to be true.
Right.
But we talk about in here with the concepcia. There was this conception that Hamas is appeased almost. I'm not really sure how you translate into English the word. They were multa. They were
Appeased is
not
kind of like
appeased.
it's like
they were multa. They didn't wanna. They weren't gonna attack us.
right. There was this
this-
feeling like they were kind of dealing with themselves. They
There was
weren't
this
focused
feeling
on us
that
anymore.
we're strengthening their economy. We're having good relations. We're trying to create peace.
So obviously they're gonna be chill with us.
Be chill with us. So the higher commands of the army, even as they got information, they didn't have the context to really interpret it. And by the time they had that context, it was too late. The Gaza division was overrun. There was the people on the front lines were sending the information back, but they were sending it back to people who A, couldn't hear them, and B, couldn't tell anyone else. Like they were disconnected. The division that control the Gaza division, the Gudat Aza, ceased to exist by 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. So there was no one. There was a disconnect in communications. Now, the last time that happened in Israel was 1973. It was the Yom Kippur War. But in the Yom Kippur War, it wasn't to the same extent as it was in this war that the Syrians succeeded in disconnecting the local command from the higher ups. But in the Yom Kippur War, you had the mid-level of officers take initiative. You had the battalion commanders and company commanders of the reserves that show up. Their company was ready. We're going. We don't need orders. I'm not waiting for orders from the brigade or from the battalion or from the division. I have my 30 soldiers. We're ready. We're going. I have my 100 soldiers, my unit, whatever I command. We're going and we'll figure it out when we get there. In this war, that mid-level of command failed. Nothing. You had brigade commanders, division commanders, battalion commanders sitting with their forces in bases, waiting for commands, doing nothing. The people who saved the day was individual soldiers. And that's the one thing from that day that I don't think I'll ever forgive myself, is that as a person who I'm not very good at following rules or, following orders. On October 7th, I was the most by the book soldier on the
It's
books.
almost like everyone was waiting for someone to take the initiative
No, but
to.
I had the idea. There was multiple times during the day where I was like, okay, I have access to jeeps. I have access to soldiers who will follow me. I have access to officers that agree with me. We should just go. Like, screw the commanders, screw the rules. We're gonna just go south. We'll take our jeeps. No one's gonna stop me on the way out of base. Two jeeps, 10 soldiers, 20 soldiers. Let's just go. We'll figure it out when we get there. And I didn't. I followed orders. I stayed there. And that's the one thing that to the day I die, I'll never forgive myself.
But it sounds like you're not the only person
Many of
who
us,
who
many
did.
of us,
But
but
so
many of us did. And that's what saved the day. It's the guys that went. You know, I was thinking in my head, I can go south. What do I have? A pistol with 50 bullets. What am I going to do? So let me go to my base. I'll get, my rifle, my equipment, and then we'll go down as a force of 300 men. That's what we command, 300 men. That's a significant fighting force. But we never left base that day. And every time I saw that we weren't leaving, I kept thinking, all right, so I'll take 10 guys.
you guys didn't leave base for the entire day of October 7th?
For the entire 3 days, we didn't leave.
October 7th, 8th,
Eighth,
9th. Holy shit.
Exactly.
What?
Exactly. Again, because the army collapsed. The command collapsed, and they couldn't figure it out. And by the time they figured it out, it was already over. So it's something I'll never forgive myself for that day.